everybody. Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. January 26th, 2014. The Shiloh GT 2014. Game 4. 2,500 point battle. Lord Tremendous of the Warriors of Chaos versus James Valdez of the Demons of Chaos. And I'm actually really glad that I got to play against James. He came up to me, day one, recognized my army, introduced himself. He's a fan of the channel. In fact, he's probably watching this right now. Hi, James! But, he came up and said, hey, listen, I like your channel. I like what you do. I'd like to play against you if we get a chance. I was all for it. But by the end of day one, it was kind of later in the day. He was exhausted. I could tell just because I ran into him at the elevators, and he was like, listen, I'm sorry. I'm tired. Maybe after tomorrow, if you guys stick around a little late or ever, but I can't tonight. And I was like, hey man, that's cool. Maybe we can get a game in later. And what do you know? He's the guy that I'm tied in 6th place against. So we got to square off each other afterwards. It was aligned in the warp. The Chaos Gods willed our match. So we fight. Here's scenario 4. It was a modified dawn attack deployment. Basically, units must be deployed evenly amongst the 3 deployment areas. Odd units are basically the player's choice. So if you had 7 units to place, you put 2 on the left flank, 2 on the right flank, 2 in the center, and then the 7th unit goes wherever the hell you want it. Special stuff. The Pig. There's basically a little 20 millimeter, or on a 20 millimeter base. Sorry, words are hard tonight. A little pig that the TO provided for you or for us. And the pig attaches himself to a character or a unit champion. Mine ended up going on Berserk, my Khorne hero. And basically the pig is a one-use item. He could be used as a Dispel Scroll that only works on a 3-up. He could be used to add 1d6 to a charge roll. So like for infantry, you roll 3d6 and keep all 3. Or for Swift Stride, you'd roll 4d6 and get rid of the lowest. He could be used in combat for 2d6 strength d6 attacks at weapon skill 4. Strength d6 attacks. Or if you broke from combat, the pig will take a -1 inch from the pursue roll on a 1 through 4, or on a 5 to 6, it stops the enemy from pursuing you at all. It's just because basically the pig sacrifices himself because of his bacony goodness. Victory conditions were normal Big Red Book conditions, and the extra points were if you used your pig, you got 150 victory points. If you didn't use your pig, you got to roll a d3 and multiply whatever your result was by 100. So potentially, if you don't use the pig, you get double the experience or the victory points for it. Then you got plus 200 victory points for completing your special mission. I chose number 3, and that was Moon Your Opponent. I'm playing against Demons of Chaos. Nothing else is really going to work. So, it was Moon Your Opponent. Basically, you take a core unit to face its rear and an opponent's unit that is 12 inches or less from them. Plus 50 victory points if the unit is charged and survives the, and you win that combat or something like that. So, yeah, if he charges you in the rear and you win the combat, you actually get plus 50 victory points. So, not that I was going for those 50 victory points. I just wanted to finish off the special mission that I thought I could actually do. Here's my list. It's my Shiloh 2014 list, and yes, you've seen it already. I have my General, Demon Prince, Lord Tremendous. He's got the Mark Zinch. She's level 3 Wizard. Chaos Armor, Charm Shield, Dragon Bane Gem, other Trickster Shard, Soul Feeder, Scaled Skin, Flaming Breath, Lower Metal. My hero choices are an Exalted Hero, Catalyst, the Keeper of the Colors. He's the Mark Zinch BSB on a halberd, or with a halberd on a Chaos Steed, with a Helm of Many Eyes and a Dawnstone. I have another Exalted Hero, Berserk. He's my Mark Khorne extra hand weapon using Luckstone, keeping Dragon Helm wearing, Crown of Command wearing, Psychopath of Destruction. And I have a Chaos Sorcerer, Saval, the Mercenary of Chaos. He's got the Mark Zinch. He's level 2 Wizard. He's on a Demonic Mount, Packhog. He's got the Warrior Bane, Enchanted Shield, Skull of Catan, Talisman of Protection, and uses Lord Zinch. My core choices are a unit of 5 Chaos Warhounds with Scaled Skin, 23 Chaos Warriors, Blood Tide, with Mark Khorne, Full Command, Halberds, and the Banner of Fury, and my Chariot, the Vessel of Change, with the Mark of Zinch. My special choice was 5 Chaos Knights, the Teeth of Tzeentch. They've got the Mark of Tzeentch, Ensorcelled Weapons, Band of Musician, and the Standard of Discipline. And my rare choice consists of 3 Skull Crushers, Khorne's Wrath, with Band of Musician Lances and a Banner of Swiftness, and the one, the only, the legend, the myth, the Mutalith Vortex. Absolutely gotta love the beast. My opponent's list is as follows. He had a great unclean one, who was his level 4 wizard general. His greater gift, he had 2 greater gifts on him. One of them gave him +1 wound, and the other one ended up giving his close combat attacks no armor save. So when I saw that, it was like, well, I'm not charging his greater demon for any reason. And of course, he used Lore Nurgle. His hero choices were Epidemus, the Tallyman of Nurgle, and I had never faced this guy before, and ooh, was I in for a wake-up call. Whew. And he had a Herald of Nurgle that with the Greater Locust of Fionndi, which I think makes it so that they have regen, and he was the BSB. His core choices were 25 Plague Bearers with full command and a Banner of Swiftness, and another unit of 20 Plague Bearers with full command and the Lichbone Pendant. His special choice was 5 Beasts of Nurgle, and his rare choices were Soul Grinder of Nurgle and 4 Plague Drones with Banner Musician and the Gleaming Pendant. These are my spells, 3 from Metal, 2 from Tzeentch, and 1 from the Beast. And these are his spells, 4 from the Lore Nurgle. Here's deployment. For the most part, it's sparse. The warriors were going to go after the Beast of Nurgle. My Demon Prince was going to go after the Soul Grinder because I figured he was the only one that could take it. Meanwhile, the dogs were going to try to give me a choice charge against the Plague Bearers for my Skull Crushers. And my Knights and my Beast and Saval were going to deal with the Plague Drones because I knew they were, number 1, worth a lot of points, number 2, hard to kill. So that was the plan. Here's my opponent's right flank. There's Big Sexy back there behind the Plague Drones. That's his Greater Demon, and that is a badass model. I think it's the Forge World one, which means the boy drops some cash on this. James, well done. That's a very cool model. And a really spectacular paint job. I'll put up the painted armies of the SHILOH thing eventually, probably after Game 5. But his army is really breathtaking. I mean, it's a spectacular army to play against. It really is. And there, of course, is 4 Plague Drones. I know they're supposed to skirmish. He explained that to me, like, at the very beginning. Hey, these guys are supposed to be skirmishing. They're not all ranked up. I don't care. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Here's his center, both of his units of Plague Bearers, his BSBs on the one on the right, and Epididymis, or whatever his name is obviously on the unit to our left. And his left flank, which consists of his Soul Grinder and his 5 Beasts of Nurgle. Here's my right flank, there's my Chariot and my Warriors with Berserk. Here's my center with my Demon Prince, Dogs, and Skull Crushers. And my left flank with my Knights, with my BSB, my Beast, and Saval. So we go to top of 1 after movement, and as you can see, I didn't get to go first. And that I was really, really nervous about. I felt fortunate that he marched with his Soul Grinder so he couldn't shoot, but I really wish I had been able to go first because I really needed to keep him on the back foot and kind of contained as long as I could, but it didn't work out that way. So anyway, he came forward, and as you can see, really he just kind of came forward. His Plague Drones, I honestly don't know what his plan with his Plague Drones were. I think maybe they were stuck. I'm not sure. But his Greater Demon started trying to run over to where the combat was going to be, and his Plague Bearers moved up just a little bit to show some aggression and yet not get into charge range. Meanwhile, his Soul Grinder and his Plague Bearers move up to play with the Khorne Warriors, and I was a little nervous. During his magic phase, his Plague Bearers sneeze all over their swords and give them +1 poison, I guess. So they poison attack on a 5-up, which is just disgusting. And that was pretty much it. So we went to bottom of 1, and as you can see, I was scared. So I charged. I used my warriors, since the pig was on Berserk, I used it to add +1 d6 to my charge, which was really, really smart because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have made the charge. And so my warriors go charging through the forest into the, what's it called? Beast and Nurgle, and the entire intention there was just murder, death, kill those things as fast as I can. I know they're worth a lot of points. I know that they're tough to kill, but what I was hoping is just overwhelming combat res, just beats them down into the dirt, and then I can turn to face the Plague Bearers and take out his BSB and the Plague Bearers before whatever Epididymis does, because I didn't know what he did. I knew he took a tally, but I was under the impression that it was only poison attacks. I was corrected. It turns out that it's any attacks by any Nurgle, so really glad I didn't have any Nurgle in my list. But I was figuring, okay, kill the beasts, turn, deal with the Plague Bearers with the Skullcrusher's help, and with a little luck, they'll kill all them off. I can get into Epididymis, take him out before the Greater Demon knows what to do, because I didn't want to get into combat with him because he was no armor save in close combat, and I know he's a badass. So with my intention against him was, soon as he was in range, hit him with Infernal Gateway until he's dead or almost dead, and then try to get something in there to him that was high initiative and slip those last couple of wounds through. I thought about the Flaming Breath on my Demon Prince, that I was going to save it to try to get in there and do that to him, but I needed to deal with the Soul Grinder, so I moved my Demon Prince over to deal with the Soul Grinder so he can't charge into my warriors and just murder stomp them, you know what I mean? And my last trick for this turn was I moved my dog so that their rear was facing the Plague Bearers, and they were within 12 inch, thereby securing my 200 victory points for my special mission. Here's a better picture of my warriors slamming into the beasts. And during my magic phase, I get Searing Doom off on his Soul Feeder, and I'm able to get, or Soul Grinder, and I'm able to get 2 wounds through on him. I was kind of hoping to do a little bit better. I actually hit 5 times, but only rolled 2 4s, so I guess beggars can't be choosers. Combat over here, it's brutal. I lose 4 warriors, I believe, but I'm able to put 4 wounds through on his beasts, so basically charge 2 ranks banner. I win by 4. And he rolls kind of high. I end up popping one of them, and I almost pop another. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. That's pretty much it. So we go to top of 2 after movement, and you're looking at it. His Greater Demon starts moving as fast as he can to get over there and try to extend his leadership to the dog, or to his beasts. Meanwhile, his Epididymis unit moves up closer to the dogs, and his Plague Drones move just a little bit closer. I really don't understand what he's doing with them. Other than that, though, his Soul Grinder does charge to my Demon Prince, because what other option did he have? There's a better picture of his Soul Grinder slamming into my Demon Prince. During his magic phase, he gets Miasma Pestilence off on my warriors. I let it go because it was a gamble. I knew I was going to need 4s to hit him regardless. I was hoping that he would roll a 1 or a 2, and he did, so it really didn't affect anything. The resulting miscast, however, puts a wound on his Greater Demon and doesn't end his magic phase. He only loses 1 die. And he uses the rest of his dice to put Fleshy Abundance on the dogs, which sucks because now they're regenerating on a 3-up. Ugh! During combat over here, I'm only able to put 1 more wound through on the Soul Feeder. He makes his ward saves, even with the other Trickster Shard. The boy was rolling hot, but I can't fault him for it. I won my second game because I was rolling hot, so how could I be mad at him for doing exactly what I was trying to do? During combat over here, I actually do very well, but he is able to ward save or regen save so many of them. Berserk takes a wound and I lose 2 warriors, but I'm able to put 2 wounds through on the beast, even past their 3-up. I did a ton of wounds and he just regened all of them. Broke my heart. I end up winning this combat though, and he pops another beast, so he's got 2 left. One with, and both of them have a wound. One's a unit champion, I guess, and one's, well, I guess they can accept challenges. So the brown one accepted challenges, and the green one was just in combat, trying to stay alive. So here's bottom of 2 after movement, and my Skullcrushers fail their frenzy check and charge the Plague Bearers, which I'm actually okay with because my Skullcrushers on paper should be really good, right? Right? And the dogs move a little bit so that they can stop Epididymis from getting in there and trying to flank charge my Skullcrushers if they get froggy. Meanwhile, my Knights, my Beast, and Saval all stay right where they're at because I'm a little nervous. I thought maybe, after the fact I should move my Knights forward, but I didn't want to get double charged by the Plague Drones and the Plague Bearers. I really didn't know what to do, so I just kept them there. The Knights were waiting for Epididymis to get close. I was hoping maybe he would get close enough to, give me a flank with my knights or something. I don't know. There's a better look for the Skull Crusher slamming into the Plague Bears, looking to kick ass for corn. During my magic phase, I get Infernal Gateway off on the Plague Drones. I do like 8 wounds and only 2 get through. It's like, wow! And against all odds, he makes his toughness check, I know, and now he's regenning on like a 4-up or whatever he's got. No, he didn't have regen on these guys, so they had a 6-up regen. During my magic phase, I also get Enchanted Blades off on my warriors because I want to finish this combat off before his Greater Demon shows up, so that if he does show up, I can at least, be prepared to charge him or whatever I have to do. But it wasn't meant to be. They are able to. They only take 1 wound. I take another 2, and while I win this combat, he rolls a 5, and he's fine. Over here, however, I put another couple of wounds on the Soul Grinder, and he's hanging on by a thread. My Demon Prince does take a wound for his trouble, but he's winning this combat. I was kind of hoping a Soul Feeder would be dead by now, or Soul Grinder, but this thing's proven to be a real pain in my ass. So I sit there, and I'm just like, well, maybe one more round of combat, but I really need to get into this. And then over here, these are the toughest Plague Bearers on the face of the planet. I think I screw up a little bit. I tried to take out his BSB. I put 6 attacks into his BSB. I do 3 wounds, and he regens all 3 of them. He was a 4 and 2 6s. So I'm like, well, that sucks. So my other Skull Crusher puts his 3 attacks into his Unit Champion, and I'm able to kill his Unit Champion. So I'm like, all right, well, that's a start. He attacks back. He's able to slip 1 wound through, which sucks. And then my Juggernauts go. So I put 6 more attacks into his BSB, and I'm able to put 3 more wounds on him. And I'm like, all right, good. Math says this thing's dead. He rolls 2 4s and a 6 this time. And then the other Juggernaut's able to kill another 1. And then I stomp, and I do another 1. So I kill 3 guys, charge, and a banner. He's got 3 ranks and a banner. I end up... and a wound. So... what is it, 3 ranks and a banner and a wound to my 3 wounds, banner and a charge. He's got a musician, I've got a musician, but he has his BSB. So he actually wins by 1. And I roll a 10 and a 4. So my useless frickin' Skull Crushers die needlessly. They get run down. The funny part is the dogs make their panic checks, so even the dogs have had enough of my Skull Crushers failing me. So really, I should have expected that, but I didn't. I was on a high from day one. I expected to kill off his BSB, lose combat, but kill his BSB and do some damage to his Plague Bears and maybe just get lucky and whittle him down. But it wasn't meant to be. Skull Crushers, for me, suck. Can't wait to shelve these guys. So we go to top of 3 after movement, and you're looking at it. Epididymis and his unit go in to finish off the dogs because it's free check marks. The Plague Drones turn to face the Knights and the BSB. Again, I really don't know what he's doing with them other than holding me up in that corner this whole time. And the other unit of Plague Drones turn to face where the Knights are and stuff like that so that when they get into combat with them, they can just decimate them. Oh, and his Greater Demon runs over to give his leadership to the Plague Hound, or the Beast of Nurgle. There's a better picture of my dogs getting slammed into by the Plague Bears. And here's a better, during his magic phase, I'm sorry, he gets Miasma of Pestilence off on my Knights, making them feel not so fresh. And in combat, I'm not able to do anything. He literally regens everything that I do to him. And the glorious thing is, he's able to kill Berserk. Of all the luck, he kills Berserk. So he kills Berserk, and yeah, it just breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart. Not only that, but he does like 3 wounds to me on top of all that. I lose this combat, but I'm stubborn 9, or I'm steadfast 9 because my Demon Prince is there, and we stay. But yeah, this is when I start to realize that I should start worrying about points denial because I'm about to lose this game. Over here in combat, my Demon Prince hits and wounds 4 times, and he makes all of his ward saves. Even with the reroll, it was insanity. So I literally, I can't have my Demon Prince in combat anymore. He needs to turn around and get into this game. And so I burned my flaming breath. I didn't know what else to do. I had to get out of combat with this damn thing. It was holding me up too much. So I burned my flaming breath, and I'm able to slip one last wound through, and I kill the soul grinder, and that's it. So he turns around to go and deal with something, but now he can't deal with the damn greater demon because he doesn't have flaming breath anymore, and I'm not charging him with no armor saves. The dogs die easily to the plague bearers unit, and they just turn to face where the knights are and stuff. And so we go to bottom of 3, and I want absolutely nothing to do with the unit there, so my knights run up and dare the plague drones to charge them. They use that little building in the middle there to block line of sight from Epididymis and his stuff. Saval runs over to start doing Infernal Gateway on whatever the hell presents itself. And my Demon Prince runs over to try to get Final Transmutation off on whoever can. Probably Epididymis' unit if he's within range, but if not, the Plague Bearers, because what other option do I have, right? My magic phase fails horribly. I'm rolling really, really high. I got Final Transmutation off on like a 25, and he rolls his 3 dice, and he rolls 2 6s and a 5. So it's like, James, quit it. But he got me. And so we go into combat, and once again, I think I'm able to put a wound on a plague on a beast, and I take 2 more wounds for my trouble. I lose my unit champion because he has to challenge and dies. And I think he wins this combat, and I steadfast and I stay, but it's all falling apart. I don't know what else I can do. So we go to top of 4, and as you can see, his Greater Demon starts putting some pressure on my Chariot and my Demon Prince. His Plague Drones charge the Beast, and his Plague Bears start encroaching around to try to get a hold of the Knights. There's a better picture of the drone slamming into the beast. I knew the beast was dead. I was hoping for a miracle, but I didn't have a whole lot of faith. During his magic phase, he gets Blades of Putrefaction off on his Plague Bearers, which means they sneeze all over their swords. And even though I try to stop it, he also gets Fleshy Abundance off on them now. So not only do they regen, but they really, really regen. During combat over here, the beast does well. The guy makes all of his armor and ward saves, no problem, but he only does one wound to the beast, and with charge and a wound, and maybe a banner, I think a banner, he wins by 3. I need a 5. I don't roll it, but he's kind enough to let the beast flee. See, I knew he was a fan of the channel. Not even Mr. Valdez could take the beast down. So he lets the beast run home, and that was generous. It's rare to see that kind of generosity from a Nurgle player, and I appreciated it. I mean, it still broke my heart, but it doesn't count as dead, so I'm not going to play the music. So we go to bottom of 4 after movement, and as you can see, there has been a little bit. I am now in 100% just panic mode. Needless to say, I must have missed to take the picture, but in combat in that last round, my warriors lost combat, broke, and got ran down, which is really unfortunate. So in bottom of 4, my Chariot turns to deal with the Plague Beast because where else can he go? I couldn't charge them. I know they're going to charge me, so he just kind of prepares for the charge the best he can. The Demon Prince runs over to try to get Final Transmutation off on the Plague Bearers, and Saval runs over to try to Final Transmutation his, or I'm not trying to Final Transmutation, but Infernal Gateway his Greater Demon off the table, because any points I can get would be good points. Meanwhile, the Knights turn to face the Plague Drones because I know they're coming, and there's nothing I can do to get away from them. During my magic phase, I'm able to get Infernal Gateway off on the Greater Demon. Unfortunately, it wasn't a very good Infernal Gateway. It was just a tiny, tiny window. It was more of like a peephole type of thing. I do slip another wound through on it, but it doesn't really amount to anything. So we go to top of 5 after movement, and the Beast of Nurgle slam into the Chariot, and the Plague Drone slam into my Knights and my BSB. Everything else turns to face my Saval and my Demon Prince. Here's a better picture of the Plague Drone slamming into my Knights. And a better picture of the Beast slamming into my Chariot. And we all know my Chariot's dead. Also, during his magic phase, I'm sorry, he gets Blades of Putrefaction off on them, so they're poisoning a lot now. Over here, he gets Fleshy Abundance off on these guys again, just in case. And we go into combat, and the Plague Dogs are able to weather every single wound I put through on them. I think I do 2. He's able to just shrug it off, no problem, and then they put, I think, 3 wounds through on my Chariot and kill it, no problem. And then over here, my knights just get kashnickered. I think one wound slips through. Other than that, though, they're literally laughing at me. They just keep growing everything back. He's making his ward saves and his armor saves for everything just spectacularly, and I can't fault him for rolling well. So we go to bottom of 5 after movement, and for the most part, I'm, like I said, still in points denial type of thing. I'm running around trying to hurt him as best I can. Saval has taken 2 wounds due to misfires and stuff like that, miscasts, and I think he took 1 wound earlier from rancid visitations or something like that. I don't recall. I didn't get pictures, so I kind of forgot. But he does have 2 wounds on him right now, and that's kind of dangerous. But at this point, I'm just kamikaze casting because I figure, what do I have to lose? I need points and Hail Mary passes. That's all I can do. So we go into the magic phase. Saval gets a useless Infernal Gateway off on his Greater Demon. I think it was like 4 strength, 3 hits from Infernal Gateway, and his Greater Demon doesn't take any wounds whatsoever. The miscast 9 causes a wound to Saval, and he doesn't make his 5 up and dies. So that's how Saval buys it, which is unfortunate, but I was kamikaze casting anyway, so it was bound to happen. Over here in combat, I'm able to put 1 more wound through on the Plague Drones, but they kill both my knights. They win, and my BSB is able to stay by luck. So we go to top of 6 after movement, and you're looking at it. It's nothing impressive. He runs over to try to corner my Demon Prince, and that's it. During his magic phase, he rolls boxcars, which, if, as all Demon players know, that means he gets an extra unit to be put on the table. And he decides to put a bunch of pink horrors on the table. And he gets, 9 more pink horrors on the table. Tzeentch has not only forsaken me, but he's sending his minions out to take me out. Oh man, what can you do? So, my opponent, using, I think 6 of those dice, or 5 of those dice, or whatever, he casts Rancid Visitations on my Demon Prince. And it's D6, Strength 4, Strength 5 hits, and it's like, alright, so the first one he rolls like 5, and I think he wounded me once, and I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Now I need to take a toughness check at toughness 5, and I'll be okay. I roll a 6. So he does another 4 hits to me, or another 4 wounds to me, and 1 slips through. So it's like, wow, my Demon Prince just went from full life to half dead. This is bad. Well, luckily, all I have to do is not roll a 6, and my Demon Prince will be okay. I roll another 6. He's able to wound me 3 more times. Luckily, I make all those saves. So, and then I roll like a 4 or something like that. So I finally pass the toughness check. But yeah, 3 sets of D6 attacks from Rancid Visitations. Probably the best cast Rancid Visitations in the history of Nurgle. So that was really funny. We had a pretty good laugh about that. Over here in combat, Catalyst versus the Plague Drones. He wins by 1. We basically have a slap fight. He's got a musician, and we both have banners. I lose by 1, and I make my break check. Thank God. So we go to bottom of 6 after movement, and you're looking at it. Not a real impressive movement phase. I just kind of get around so I can't be charged and lose my Demon Prince. Other than that, everything is dead or in combat. During the magic phase, I get enchanted blades off on my BSB just to try to help him out. And then I also took a Hail Mary shot with Final Transmutation. I cast it, not irresistible, but it does go off by a few points on his Greater Demon. And it was funny because I make this big speech. I'm like, if this rolls a 6, if this die rolls a 6, and I picked up one of my 300 dice, if this dice rolls a 6, and your Greater Demon dies, you will be part of the greatest upset in the history of Warhammer. And I roll the die, and it's a 1. So it was the worst possible die roll I could have rolled. So, but yeah, that was my one last chance. In combat, my BSB takes a wound. I lose by 2, but luckily he makes his break check and stays, and there's the end of the game right there. Mr. Valdez literally curb stomps me. Yeah, you know what? Let me just say, first and foremost, I know I've said this about everybody, but really glad to have met this guy. He was a lot of fun to play against. He wasn't rude. He wasn't a dick. He wasn't, rubbing it in. He wasn't a sore winner or anything like that. And his army is rock solid. Oh my God. It was like literally firing a cannonball into friggin' tempered steel. I bounced off of everything. The only thing I didn't bounce off of was a soul grinder, and that was because it was the hardest hitting thing I have in my army. Skull Crushers bounced off as plague bears. Knights died to the plague drones. Mutalith ran off the table. Saval kills himself with misfires. Just the warriors. My warriors have been kicking ass and taking names all tournament, and 5 Beasts and Urgle were like, I don't see what the big deal is. We just ate their lunch. It was amazing. And this guy, James, you played this army flawlessly, and I have no regrets losing to you. It was a pleasure, and I would love a rematch whenever we run into each other again. But enough of the verbal. Right now, it's time for a quick timeout. Tokens, fellas. Tokens. Wound counters, augment markers, hex markers, every status, ailment, and effect you can think of, from not being able to move to the lore attributes to the lore hexes and bonuses that they provide. Everything that you can think of that you could need a marker for, that we use dice for. Token Grail makes the tokens. Send her an email, tell her what you need. Any gaming system, from Magic the Gathering to Infinity to Malifaux to 40k to Fantasy, whatever you need tokens for, she will make them, and they come out they're flawless. Look at them. They're the glass beads. They magnify the words in the picture, so they're really easy to see from the tabletop and everything like that. They're a lot more accurate than dice, and they're dirt cheap, guys. She sells them for less than $10 a kit. Dirt cheap prices, solid gold quality. Totally worth it. Send her an email, get yourself some tokens. The only request that I make is that if you are overseas, if you're outside of America, before you send her an email, you have to understand that shipping prices are through the roof. So as long as you're okay with paying like $30+ shipping fees, don't send her an email, because it's just going to waste both your times. But if you are in America or you don't mind high shipping fees, then by all means, send her an email, get yourself some tokens. Totally worth it. So yes, it was a vicious defeat for Lord Tremendous. 655 victory points is all I was able to squeak out of him, and he got 2,046 out of me. I got 1 battle point and he got 19. It wasn't a 20-0, but just barely. I think literally like 5 points would have made the difference. I lost everything but Tremendous and Catalyst, and the demon James lost his Soul Grinder. That's it. That's all I was able to kill. I got Valdez, and that's what we started calling it. It's affection. It was a joke, but yeah, he ended up doing this to a Tomb King opponent later on in Game 5, and the Tomb King opponent had played one of my teammates in round 3, and he was a good guy, real good Tomb King player and stuff like that, but after he got tabled by Valdez, we were calling it, I got Valdez! It's gonna be a new sex position! It stings! It stings so good! But yeah, the guy, he got me good, and I got to hand it to him. It was a fun game. I just couldn't get past his regen and ward saves. I really did try. I wasn't rolling bad or anything like that. He was just rolling a lot better, and he made his saves. He knew what fights to take. He knew which ones not to. He knew what his army could take and what they couldn't, and how to set them up for victory. And it worked, because he earned it. My Skull Crushers suck. I don't like them. I really don't like them. And every time that they fail me like they did today, it's just one more reason for me to get rid of them. This is my first time ever facing Epidemus or whatever his name is, and he is a soul crusher. Once he starts hitting those milestones, like when James was telling me, okay, now they're +1 strength, now they're +1 toughness, now they have killing blow. I'm like, stop it, please! I don't have any models left. But it was really fun to meet James. He was a fan of the channel. Like I said, he introduced himself day one, and I was thrilled I was able to get a game against him. It's kind of nice to be able to play you guys, instead of just chatting with you in the comment section. But he was a true gamer, humble in victory, and a rock solid opponent. I mean, don't even fault him for his list because there's nothing wrong with his list. This guy, I think, would do just as good with Tomb Kings as he does with these with his Nurgle guys. He was really, really fun and a real competent general. I was happy to have been able to play against him. Like I said, no complaints. I was due a loss anyway. I did way too well on Saturday. I either needed to get my butt kicked in a game or I needed to get like mugged, and I'll take losing a game over getting mugged anytime. But yeah, James, thank you very much for the lesson in humility and for Valdezing me. I appreciate it. But yep, going into Game 5, I am now 3-0-1, and my final opponent is going to be the man, the myth, the legend, Cast the Despoiler. Oh, yeah, so since I lost this game pretty impressively, the TO was able to do our grudge match. So Game 5 ends on a really cool note. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this battle report. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comments section below, and I will get back to them as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.